All right.
All right.
Ready when you are.
Hi, this is Drew versus the World, a podcast about giving inspiration through information. Today on the podcast, we have David Weiss, aka Flat Earth Dave. So, how you doing today, Dave?
Hey, I'm doing great, Drew. Appreciate the conversation, and I like what you have to say. Information through inspiration, or inspiration through information.
I like to. I mean, it cross pollinates. You can use it one on the other way. It's I forgot what they call it. It's like mom. It's like you can spell it one way, you can spell it the other way. Flip flop. I forgot what the terminology is.
And if
But
you turn mom upside down, it says "Wow."
wow. First and foremost, where are you from, Dave?
I'm in Connecticut.
Okay. And you're from Connecticut?
I am. I've been born and raised here, so I've put myself in a little dome, if you will.
No pun intended. A little pun intended.
A pun
Um,
totally intended.
so I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. So I was like, your voice and your kind of demeanor has
Are
a
you saying that
very
I
like
sound like a
East Coast.
Jew? Is that what you're saying? A New York Jew? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that, but
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that I had a friend named Goldberg. I went to his bar mitzvah, and you guys sound similar. But
All right.
but
I'll allow it.
but yeah, I really like East Coast vibes. I was like, I'm sure he's from like the tri-state area, but yeah, I was right. So first and foremost, let's get down to nitty gritty. Can you give me the reason and the kind of the anthology of how you began to believe in flat Earth?
Right. It's because, well, to keep it short, is we're all programmed before we could even talk to believe in the globe, and we're also taught what to think flat Earth is. Okay, and both of them are wrong. So you were indoctrinated beyond belief into this heliocentric nonsense system, which I'm going to show you, and then the idea, thinking that the Earth is flat, just comes across as total insanity. As I'm looking for an image here, the the idea that we're a disk floating in space is not what flat Earth is. That's what they want you to believe flat Earth is. So when people think flat Earth, they think this because this is a meme that came from the Flat Earth Society, right? The Flat Earth Society is a disinformation, government controlled disinformation website. And if you Google flat Earth, you end up with their information. Okay. And
Mhm.
anybody that thinks that this is what flat Earth is absolutely correct, thinking flat earthers are crazy if a flat earther believes this. No flat earther believes that. You've just totally
Destroyed my destroyed my camera.
you destroyed it. That's right. I'll keep going. So this is not what flat Earth is. So if we're not a disk floating in space, what is the flat Earth? And the answer is the flat Earth is like a pond, right? Large bodies of water at rest need a container, right? If you had a bathtub, great. If you snapped your fingers and the tub disappeared, the water's gone. If you're going to go swimming in a lake and I snap my fingers and the side of the lake disappeared, the water's gone. Large bodies of water need a container. They tell us the highest land on Earth is this continent at the bottom of a ball called Antarctica, when in fact it is the highest land on Earth, but it's the land that surrounds our pond. We live in the Antarctic basin. All of these islands, continents, are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by Antarctica. Okay? So we can test, if we live on a ball 24,901 miles around, this is what got me. I was like, okay, what is the curvature rate? Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, tells us, as the boat goes away, it disappears. It disappears from the bottom up. That would be true if we lived on a ball. I'll
Mhm.
give him that. However, there's other reasons things disappear from the bottom up. And there's things that you can do, like zoom in on them after they've disappeared with the camera, and you can see them again. Like, wait a minute, if it went below a physical curvature, how could I zoom in and bring it back into view? So, um, if you look, our eyes have an angular resolution limit. If you look right here, you don't see anything. You don't see anything all of a sudden there's a boat. Okay. Now, this boat would have appeared to go over the curve, right? If that's what you believed. So here we are, zoomed in on the boat. Now I'm going to zoom out. It's just like the boat's going away from me. And you'll watch the boat disappears from the bottom up because of several reasons. Its angular size is getting smaller, and these little waves in the foreground are blocking it and
Mhm.
creating a false horizon. And now it's gone. But zooming it in proves that it's not gone over a physical barrier.
Can you explain real quick before you go into
Yeah.
the next slide or the next what
Again.
is the false horizon?
So a false horizon, you want to believe, if you believe that the earth is a ball, you have to believe that you can only see a certain distance,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's the horizon. Well, this is a false horizon right here. This is just where the resolution of the sky, the sky and the earth just come together. Let me show you a better one, which will cover two topics at once. Um, as things move into the distance, if you're standing next to a giant tree, for a line of trees, the tops of those trees are way over your head. You have to look up. They're up there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if you went 5 miles away from those trees, the tops of the trees now look like they're at your eye level. You with
Mm-hmm.
me?
Mm-hmm.
They look like you're at your eye level. I'm right here on the coast of Connecticut, on the edge of New York, and I could look down Long Island Sound, and I could see Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right around Manhattan, which is like 25 miles away, I can see on a day where there's a cloud deck, we have beautiful clouds all on a cloud deck. The clouds over my head are, 10,000 feet over my head. But when I look over Manhattan, they look like they're touching the ground. They look like they're at my eye level.
Gotcha.
And that
Okay.
creates what I call the false, the apparent horizon. And that it's just how our eyes work. So again, Zoom flips things around on me, and every
Yeah.
time I look, here we go. So here's a little experiment I did in my kitchen, right here. This is the line. That this line is level, and you can see that it's level. I'm moving this sun across the line, and we're viewing it from a terrestrial point of view, from an elevated point of view. This could be the tops of trees. It could be the tops of a city, a skyline, or it could even just be the atmospheric deck, clouds. It's opaque. I never went below it. Now I'm going to show you the same thing from the terrestrial point of view. And if I showed you this line first, I would say, is this line level? And you'd be like, no, it's not level. It's going down. That's just perspective. It is level. And look, am I going below this? And so this right here in the distance looks like it's at eye level, okay? But we already saw that it's above it. So
Right.
this is the apparent path of the sun. So now let's watch what really happens in reality. So here you would think that this is the Earth horizon, but look, there's another horizon right here. What is that? And I call that the atmospheric deck of opacity. When you're looking
Okay.
across the atmosphere, it just becomes opaque at some point. And as the sun moves away,
Mm-hmm.
it goes beyond that. Now, if I zoomed out, the space between where that's setting and this apparent horizon, it all merges together, and you can't even tell there's any difference. So when the sun goes away, it just goes away, and it looks like it's setting like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if I may summarize, so the you're saying that the sun is actually moving, let's say, behind, like back. It's not moving
It's just moving
around,
away. Like
away. Okay. So what
if
is
we
it
were,
moving?
if I
I
was
was okay.
real quick, if we were out in a field and let's say there's a fence 5 feet tall, and you're sitting, I don't know, 25 feet from that fence, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can look over at that fence. It's kind of almost at eye level, the top of the fence, even though you're only 3 feet off the ground. If I'm on the other side of that fence, you can see me from here up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as I walk away, my head's gonna set below that fence like that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just perspective, right? And everything just merges into the horizon. Um, and so let's talk about the false horizon here. This is a
Mm-hmm.
famous viewing spot in Alusia, France. And then remember your question, and I'll stop talking. Where people look out here, and Mount Canigou is out here, but it's 175 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
According to globe math, the top of that mountain should be over a mile below the curve of the Earth if the Earth was curved. All right. And so the mountain is there. You just can't see it. The light that bounces off the mountain can't push through the thickness of the atmosphere. It's just too far away. But 2 times a year, when the sun migrates in between the tropics, it lines up with Mount Canigou, and the sun's light can push through and it backlights it, and you can see all of Mount Canigou, where the very top right here should be a mile below the curvature. So this is just an apparent horizon.
Okay.
And so the globers would say, well, the sun and this mountain are already below the curve. They're just refracting up and magically stopping it at your eye level.
Mm-hmm.
Nonsense. There you go.
So, a couple questions. Um, for so if somebody, so I'm gonna give a couple questions that a lot I've been kind of reading back and forth, and a lot of people have either asked this question against the flat Earth theory or have brought it up. So how about stars? So how are stars when you see them in the sky and they kind of rotate when you see them from end to end? How does your perspective on seeing stars and the movement of stars that kind of equates to the globe theory as per se, as we're talking about? Uh-oh.
I'm muted.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big question. I'm going to answer it in a whole bunch of different ways. So we'll
Okay.
take them one by one. For one, in the heliocentric model, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. And that entire system is moving sideways at over 1,000,000 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So every year, just in the chasing the sun, we're going like 4.4 billion miles every year, never returning to the same space.
Oh, so hold on. I'm sorry. Maybe this is my
Good.
not education on this. So you're saying that instead of it being that we are orbiting around the sun, we're actually in a constant motion with the sun.
This is the heliocentric model. This is the globe model. I don't
Okay.
believe this. This is pseudoscience.
Okay.
All right. So my point is, if you go out tonight, look at all the stars in the sky, make a little map, sit down in a certain spot, and say, okay, I got these stars here, whatever. And then a year later or 10 years later, same night, same time, go out. Every star will be in the exact same position.
Mm.
Absolutely. They never change.
So
They've
how
never
about
changed through all of time.
so how about and this is another science that people like to debunk, astrology, where
Oh,
that during different years. Okay, there you go.
yeah. So let me finish that. Don't forget that question, though.
Okay.
Don't forget that question. So that right there shows that that's impossible. With all of these motions, the stars never change. As far as the rotating of stars, I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about there, but we set a balloon up in Arizona at nighttime with high-def cameras looking up. And before the balloon took off, it was a beautiful starry night. We could see all the stars. So as that balloon goes up higher and higher, the stars should get brighter and brighter and clearer as we get up above the thickest part of the atmosphere. Well, the opposite happened. By the time we hit 50, 60, 70,000 feet, all of the stars disappeared.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
So what are stars? And again, anything above our heads or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is really speculation because no one can get there or is allowed to go there. This is the star Arcturus. Yeah, Arcturus. It's small. It's here. It's within our system. Here's the star Sirius, right? This isn't what NASA shows you, but you can go out. Our consumer optics have outgrown their lives. This is one of my favorites, Capella. Amazing, colorful. You can see this almost with your naked eye. Then you get a super zoom lens, zoom in, and you see these things. These things almost look like lights underwater. And if you look up star in a jar, science has taken where they get a jar of water and they focus sound waves into it, and these little stars appear in the jar that look just like little suns. Pretty amazing stuff. So what are stars? Great question. Don't know. But the distances they tell us they are and the sizes make absolutely no sense. It's actually, if you do the math, you can scientifically prove that you can't see them. Okay. So, for example, a penny can only be seen, I forget the distance, maybe it's 200 yards or whatever. After that distance, its angular size is too small for the human eye to resolve. Even if you have 20/20 vision, you can't see a penny beyond 200 yards, whatever it is. That's called the angular resolution limits of your eyes. You with me? Okay. So our sun, if our sun was right next to the earth, it was a mile over your head, you'd look up and it would fill the entire sky, right? Because they tell us, we're a giant yoga ball is the sun and we're a BB next to it, right? So if it was a mile over our head, it would fill the entire sky. Now let's move it 93 million miles away where they tell us it is. Its angular size is now like the size of a nickel held at arm's length, right? So it reduced from the entire sky to the size of a nickel at 93 million miles. Okay. 93 million miles, they tell us, is 8 light minutes away. Okay. So if we made it 8 times farther, that's about a light hour. Okay. Yep. 8 times farther. Remember, it went from the entire sky to the size of a nickel once. If I made it 8 times farther, do you think you could see that nickel?
No.
You can do the math. And it would be too small to see it 3 times the distance. But let's just say 8 times the distance. So 8 times the distance is a light hour. Okay? So our sun at 1 light hour away is too small to see. But let's be super safe. Let's make it 2 light days away. Okay? 48 times farther. Okay? Definitely can't see the 2 light days away. Now let's talk about Polaris, our North Star.
Yes.
Polaris, they say, is about 48 times bigger than our sun. Okay? So 2 light hours times 48 is 4 light days. So Polaris at 4 light days away is scientifically provable its angular size is too small for our eyes to see. They tell us it's 433 light years away. That's ridiculous. So here's what happens. You're following along. You're listening.
Yes.
Most people can't even comprehend those numbers. And even when you're talking about these numbers, your brain doesn't have the ability to understand what they are. It's insanity.
Astronomical.
Yeah, it's insanity. A trillion, you know how long a trillion seconds is? 1 trillion seconds. Do you have any idea?
No idea.
It's 31,000 years.
Oh.
And they tell us the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Okay. This is nonsense, right?
Are you saying that so you're basically saying that they can't really predict the actual distance of where we are from the actual stars that they're equating these distances towards.
So if I had a penny and I say, hey, keep an eye on this penny, I'm going to move it 5,000 miles away and you're still going to be able to see it. What would you say?
First I would ask you, if you're moving the penny, I would ask you when you came back, how far was it? That's my first question.
But my point is, do you realize that you can't see a penny at 5,000 miles away?
Correct.
Seeing Polaris at the distance they tell us is way, way worse than that. Way, way worse. So once you start understanding like these motions, all of these motions that they're telling us, it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Gotcha. Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
No.
So in Georgia, there's a Stonehenge.
Oh, actually, you did talk about it on a podcast I was listening to. But go ahead, please. Yeah.
So there's this monument that they built. It kind of looks like Stonehenge, and it was built in 1981. And besides having the New World Order 10 Commandments on it, it has this little hole. Thin little hole that you look through, and when you look through it, what do you see? You see Polaris. Okay, Polaris, our North Star. You do a little time lapse. The stars all going around. We're corkscrewing through space. They tell us in 4 different directions at once, traveling billions of miles every year, and Polaris never moves from that hole. What does that tell you? That
Like it's a
proves
focal point.
beyond a
Mm.
shadow of a doubt that we're not moving, and
So it's
Polaris never moves.
so in your diagram here, are are those other stars moving around in a centrifugal force, or are they still kind of dormant and the North Star is kind of the focal point?
Very, very good question. So let me explain. The sky, I believe, is the fixed stars,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the wandering stars, which we now call planets. They're all set in the sky. They're fixed in the firmament, if you will, and that's like a disk spinning around above us. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay,
it turns, and that axis of rotation is Polaris.
gotcha.
Okay, and so the guttural the normal reaction people have is, well, how come people in the south can't see Polaris, right? Right,
Mm-hmm.
because they tell us it's a pole star, and the answer is because they're too far away to see it. If you're standing under a row of street lights, there's a street light over your head, but the street light half a mile down the road, it looks like it's at your eye level, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the same height above you. You know it.
Yep.
It just looks like it's at eye level. And if you keep going, that street light's going to merge into the ground, and you're not going to be able to see it anymore.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's because that's the exact same thing that happens with Polaris. If the Earth was a ball 24,901 miles around, and Polaris was lined up with the north polar axis, once you go beyond the equator, you should never be able to see Polaris. But there's been many reports as far as 30 degrees south where observatories can see Polaris.
Mm.
Okay? That's impossible on a globe.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going back to the original question. How about the astrology and the stars moving and it equating to the different types of um I guess months and calendar years that we get this whole like Cancer and Gemini and information from.
Do you believe in astrology?
Do I believe in
The,
astrology?
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to laugh at it, but now I totally get it. Astrology is the real science.
Mm-hmm.
Me. Just getting over a chest cold, so
I'm
I'm
sorry to hear that.
on the road to a natural immunity, taking charge here. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And are you familiar with my app?
No, I'm not.
Okay. This is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Right now, the
Okay.
moon is dark, and that's just because of a little technical glitch that's being updated. So
I'm
this
sorry.
is
Is
how
this a web app or is this
this
a
is
mobile app?
a phone app. This is
Okay.
a mobile app.
And where can people get it? Is it
Okay.
iOS or Android?
Both. It's iOS
Okay.
and Android, and I'll tell
Okay.
you where to get it in a moment.
Okay. Awesome.
So what it shows is the sky is a perfect clock. The sun is the hour hand of the clock. Wherever the sun is, it's noon.
Mm-hmm.
The moon keeps track of the weeks and the moons. There used to be 13 moons of 28 days, right? If I speed it up, you'll see that the sun laps the moon every 28 times around. So it's going slightly faster than the moon. And the moon, its position and phases keep track of the weeks and the months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I slow it down and turn on the stars, we're going to get into astrology. This is where I'm going with your
Mm-hmm.
question. The stars, as I said, are fixed in the sky. Polaris is at the center there. And all the constellations are spinning around slightly faster than the sun. So slightly that it's 365 times around before the stars will lap the sun. So right now, the sun is moving into this constellation. It'll work its way backwards through there for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go into, what is that, Capricorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, October, November. Yeah. So it'll spend about a month in each constellation, right? So we're going to get into your question in a moment. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years.
Mm-hmm.
And every year they reset to the exact same position they were the previous year, the previous decade, the previous millennium. So astrology. Well, you know what? Let me finish since we're in the app. Let me just finish, show you a couple things in the app, and then I'll answer that question fully. Is that okay?
It's fine.
All right. So just real quick, this is the best way to show you how seasons work.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this: you and I are sitting here in Connecticut in December. We're sitting outside,
That was
about
cold.
20 feet apart, and it's freezing.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell are we doing outside? What are we doing? Okay. And it's just freezing. It's snow on the ground. And then somebody comes over with a long pole and a big heat lamp and holds it directly over your head, maybe 10 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You look up, and that light, that heat lamp is directly over you. It's hot. You can feel the heat, and it's high in your sky. It's straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I look over at that light. It's lower in the sky. Even though it's still 10 feet in the air, it's much lower for me, and I could barely feel the heat. That's my summer sun. That's my winter sun. That's your summer sun. Now, if the person walked over to me, keeping it at the same height, it's going to rise higher for me as it gets closer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to go lower for you. That's my summer sun. That's your winter sun. So here's how the sun works. The inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. The outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. And the red line, do you want to guess what that one is?
That
That's the
is
equator.
equator. Yep.
That's the equator.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, September 26th, we're just past the equinox. So the sun is slightly on the outside of that equator. So if I jump the sun forward, September, October, November, and then I go all the way to December. December, it's all the way out over the Tropic of Capricorn, and the outer southern continents are having their summer. Central South America is the heat of their summer. South Africa, as it goes around, you'll see that Australia, it'll be their summer because it's high above them. It's close. But here in Connecticut, I'm up here, the sun is farther away from me. It's lower in the sky. It's farther away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the middle of my winter. And the farther away you are from the sun, the colder it is. So look, Australia's having their summer, right? Now, if I jump it forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, back to June, that's when we in the inner north have our summer because the sun is closer. It's higher in the sky. Make sense?
So this kind of it proves and it gives points and values to the flat earth theory, but doesn't it also give value to the global theory as well? Because wouldn't the same kind of mentality or facts actually work on both sides of the coin there? So if we're talking about the distance of the sun and you saying that the heat lamp is here, wouldn't, if it was a ball, as the sun moves around the ball, wouldn't you in on this side also feel less heat, and wouldn't me on this side feel more heat? So wouldn't it kind of like, aren't, for that explanation, wouldn't it be on both sides of the spectrum?
No. Explain
Okay.
that. Let's get into that. So you're in the north. Where are you located?
Charlotte.
Okay,
Moved,
you're in Charlotte.
yeah, I moved on down.
Don't. We're going to talk about you're not too far from Spartanburg, South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that far. We're having a conference there next month, and you're coming. Just so
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I'll be there.
right?
Where
All right. So listen,
just send me information.
it's
Honestly.
called Flattoberfest.
Okay.
FlatEarthFestivals.com. That's where you can get all the information, but we'll talk about that at the end. So during our northern winter,
Mhm.
during our northern summer, do you know that our sun is 3.5, according to the helio nonsensical model, that our sun is 3.5 million miles farther away than it is during our winter?
Mm.
Okay. So during our summer, the sun is farther away. So think about this. Here in Connecticut, in June and July, when I watch the sun appear on the horizon, as soon as it shows up on the horizon, I can feel the heat on my face, right? Because it's summer. It's a nice, hot summer sun.
Mm-hmm.
That is at the most severe tilt. That's an 89-degree tilt. It's literally sitting right on the horizon. So it doesn't matter, the tilt of the earth or the spin of the earth, it's the same thing. I could feel the heat on my face. 6 months later, in December 21st,
Mm-hmm.
when the sun is at noon for the day, the highest it is in the sky for the day,
Mm-hmm.
I can look at the sun and I can't even feel the heat on my face.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the angle that I'm looking at is much more direct than sunrise in June. And in the heliocentric model, in the winter, the sun is 3.5 million miles closer. Why can't I feel the heat on my face? And the answer is because the heliocentric model is bullshit. It makes no sense. Seasons prove the earth is flat, right? It's not the tilt because, again, when the sun, it would be freezing every day at sunrise if it was the tilt that caused the issue, caused the seasons.
Okay.
So wait, so let's just go back. Here's the thing. Believing in something is really easy. Where do I live?
Connecticut.
Okay. Do you believe that?
I I I I believe that you
You
live
believe
there,
it.
but I can't believe it. No, go ahead.
You believe it,
Mm-hmm.
and your day is done. You have
Yeah.
no more research to do
Exactly.
because you believe it. Do you
Mhm.
know it?
No.
Okay. So how long would it take you to know it? A few hours, maybe. You could probably figure
couple
it out.
minutes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So belief is easy. It takes no effort. Your whole
Yes.
day's done. You
Mm-hmm.
can go take a nap, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to know something, so
You gotta
people
do the research.
believe the earth is round, but when I ask them for one proof, I'm offering 3 Bitcoins for one proof of the globe. Nobody can deliver one proof. They just believe,
Mm-hmm.
and they throw up their hands. Why the lie? Why would people lie? What's the point? And I'll get into that. So just going back to the app for a second. Where'd it go? Excuse me. So if you want to learn about flat Earth, don't bother Googling it. You're just going to get the propaganda the controllers want you to see. You're gonna see videos by a guy called Psyop Mandan or not Professor Dave or Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie. You're gonna see these things that that gaslight flat earthers. Never just telling actually portraying what we're saying. They always just misrepresent us and just give you these snarky videos. So how do you find good flat earth information? The app will show you. Every day there's a featured video. This is if you want to win the 3 Bitcoins, just click this thumbnail. Each day there'd be a new one. Happens to be me from a video somebody made. And watch it every day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, pretty much you'll have lost all your friends and family because you'll be a flat earther. But if you didn't, if you think you have a proof, you can send it to me for the 3 Bitcoins. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark button. All right. I hit that. Oops. Oh, you know what? Give me a second. Yeah. I have a test version on here. Well, whatever. When you hit that question mark button, up comes the 21 questions that that people ask. And if you hit that, up comes a list of videos that Google will be hiding from you. And again, don't believe videos. Take information from videos and then go verify it yourself. Right? Another thing is on here we have the Meet Flat Earthers, and again, this is my test version, so of course it's not working. Why I'm trying to show you. There we go. This shows you where other app users are, and you can tap on one of those dots and send somebody a private message, a text message, and it's a way to meet other flat earthers near you.
Gotcha. Oh, that's
pretty cool, right?
So
Yeah.
you're basically holding people's geotags on this.
And again, the app also allows you to obscure your location. It says,
Okay,
hey, just show my approximate location. It shows you within like 5 miles of where you are.
Good.
For those of you that are nervous, but again, the people that want to know your location that you don't want to, they don't need this app to know where you are. Okay. This is to allow other flat earthers near you. Also there's again, I wish I didn't have the test version on here. There's images, there's books in here. There's all sorts of useful stuff that that will just help you really learn about flat Earth. So that's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You have to make sure it's by Blue Water Bay because already on Android there's a Flat Earth Society type app which took my name and images, and it's a horrible app. So don't send me an email telling me my app sucks because it's not my app. My app is the highest rated app in the App Store and Google Play Store. So mine is by Blue Water Bay. You can just scan this if you're watching this on a computer, or hopefully there's a link below your video to my app.
There will be a link. So first and foremost, can you give me a little bit of background about yourself, of where
Sure.
you're from and kind of what you've done in your career, your life?
Sure. I grew up in Fairfield County, right in the, right outside of New York City. I went to college. I worked in corporate America. I then left corporate America, started my own company with a couple partners. I was doing really well and researching different conspiracies. I was doing a conspiracy podcast for years out of New York City called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, looking into all the deceptions that are going on. And in the third year, people started sending me flat Earth stuff. Hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth? And I, like any smart person would do, would just ban them from my social media for being so stupid to even ask me to watch a 1-minute video on something so dumb. And finally, I was forced by another researcher that I respected to look into it. And I went into it saying, okay, I'm just going to prove the globe and be done with this. And for 2 weeks, I literally tried to come up with one proof of the globe. I thought I had them all. Aristophanes with his sticks and shadows, boats over the horizon, seasons, day and night, sunsets, all of the stuff. And when you look into it, you realize that all of those things work perfectly on a flat Earth. Some of them actually prove the Earth is flat because they don't work on a ball.
Yeah, you have to. So Dave, you've said that on many podcasts.
Yes.
So,
okay.
In Drew vs. the World, we like to go a little bit deeper.
Oh,
So
nice.
I want to know. So as far as your career and your college, what did you study, and what career were you in during your kind of tenure in the corporate America lifestyle?
I studied marketing and psychology, and and all the other stuff that you do in college. And I did 4 years of astronomy, which was pretty interesting, right? Because it's all nonsense. And then to start, I was in the commercial printing business for 20 years or so. I was doing very well in that. And then I finally kind of got tired of commercial printing, and I decided I want to do something else. So I took a year off, did a little consulting, and I kind of put it out to the universe. I was like, I want something fun, something that I love, something that people want, right? I wanted to be in sales. I like sales. And all of a sudden, solar power, which I never really thought about, just kept jumping in front of me. Everywhere I turned around, solar power, solar power, solar power. And then a buddy of mine, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm working for a solar power company. I'm like, what? And and he's telling me all about it and these incentive programs. I'm like, that sounds like something really fun to sell. And so then I found out the largest solar power company in the Northeast was literally almost in my backyard. It was right over in Portchester, New York. And the guy that started it was a dad from my neighborhood. Our kids went to school together.
Oh, wow.
So I went and talked to him. We had some coffee. And he said that, well, he's not hiring. He hired a new guy, the sales director. I could talk to him. And they basically told me that they're not hiring anyone in Connecticut because Connecticut is dead for commercial solar. And or actually residential solar, sorry. And I just said, I don't care. I'll work for free and you just pay me what I sell. And it's like, how do you say no to that, right? And so I kind of just created this position for myself. And within no time at all, they're like, okay, you're officially hired. And I took that to a level. The company was sold. And I basically started the commercial division in the company. We went into commercial solar, which they thought couldn't be done. But myself and my partner at the firm that I put together afterwards, we said, no, you can do it. So when they sold the company that bought it shut down the commercial division. Now, you might say, oh, it's the worst thing ever. Well, no, it was the greatest thing ever because I started my own company, something I never thought I could do. Right. And then just jumping forward, I was definitely into truth seeing, into looking at the reality of our world, and my partners were not. So
Yes.
that caused some conflict. So my partner's like, oh, we want you out. Well, that could be the worst thing ever. But I said, no, it's not the worst thing ever. Now I can go do what I really love, which is help people see the reality of the world that they're in. Okay. And the truth of our world is so much more amazing and super fulfilling. And, and I really think that, if we want a chance of getting our freedoms back, this is a message that has to go out there. There's two things that we have to do to get our freedom back. And that is one, realize, put on our big boy pants, get our heads out of our rear ends, and realize who we are, where we are, and what this place is, and the power of our mind. They've limited our manifestation abilities by limiting our thoughts and keeping us in fear with a whole bunch of nonsense. Okay? The prison for our mind is the globe,
Yes.
like the Truman Show. And
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
yeah, that's a flat Earth movie all the way. So that's mind control right there, that movie. And then the other thing is we're playing with their monopoly money. Look at our money, compare it to monopoly money. It's the same color. 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, they're all the same colors, okay? They have the same colors. They're telling us, right? In the game of Monopoly, it says if the bank runs out of money, just get some pieces of paper and write some more money on it and keep playing, right? Well, we need to get off their monopoly board, and go into our own currency, and that would be cryptocurrency, but not centralized cryptocurrency. Because if we go into their crypto government digital dollar, we're going to be slaves for 1,000 years.
Now you just put yourself back in the hole that you
right.
you
There's privacy cryptocurrencies like Pirachain and Monero and others that are totally, like I could send you some Pirachain or some Monero right now. It costs me a penny to send it to you.
Yep.
And no one would ever know that I sent it to you or that you have it. That's freedom. So for those of you listening that if all you know about crypto is the word Bitcoin, you don't really know very much. And I just say, take some time every day, every week, whatever, and just learn a little bit until you understand it. And then you can make an educated decision on what's really happening.
Yeah, I always love to say that I do this now. I take an hour out of my day just to research something I don't know.
Perfect.
And that goes with reading a book, reading a couple pages of a book, or just going online and learning something about because I'm in tech field, so learning something about like SQL or Java development or something like that. So I kind of mirror what you're saying because I'm actually in this solar too, as my day job.
All right.
So I love that you said that solar part because it's obviously booming right now. It's like the new big thing.
Sure.
And the commercial spectrum, the commercial field is something that I'm super interested in because definitely in LA, I don't know if you heard that every new house that's being built, I think it's 2022, needs to have solar on top of it. I'm like, boom. That's first of all, you have perfect light, perfect sunshine coming mostly 95% of the 95% of the year. So it's just perfect. But I want to also dive into, can you really pinpoint like an early part of your life where you can track that you were already getting into conspiracy theory?
Yeah. But let's stick on solar for one more second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Solar power proves the earth is flat. Okay. Do you know that scientists have no idea how solar power works? They only have a theory about photons coming in, hitting a boron molecule in the silicon wafer, and it knocks out an electron, right? That's nonsense, okay? It's not true. Solar power works really easy. Our sun is electric in nature. It's sending electricity here. Everything on this earth is electric, including us, all the living plants and everything. So it's collecting electricity. That's it. It's not collecting a photon that was born a billion years ago at the center of the sun and finally escaped the surface to travel here to crash into a solar panel. It doesn't work that way, right? It's sending electricity here. If you got two house plants and put one of them in front of a fireplace and one of them in front of electric light, Which one's going to grow and which one's going to shrivel up and die? Okay. Well, the sun is sending electricity here. Okay. It's sending electricity, and that's what heats things up. And
Well,
that's what,
wouldn't the same thing kind of occur if, let's say, you have a light bulb that's 100 degrees Celsius and another light bulb that's 100 degrees Celsius? Wouldn't it still burn the plant, even though they're both light bulbs,
but
but
the
they're very
light,
hot?
the electricity that's coming off of the lights, it's not the heat that the plant is growing on.
Yeah.
It's not the heat, it's the electricity. So
But
I'm just showing you that the sun that we see in the sky is an electric light, and our Earth is a big capacitor, right?
Mhm.
So if you think about lava, lava doesn't come from the center of the Earth. This is sending electricity through this ceramic box, and those rocks turned into lava, right?
Mhm.
Lava comes from lava tubes, which are capacitor. The Earth is collecting the electricity, and there's electrical currents under the Earth, and that creates lava tubes.
So you're saying that there's lava tubes under the earth,
Under the
or in
Earth, not
this,
coming from the center of the
not the
Earth. That's
center.
ridiculous. Right,
So if there's nothing coming from the center of the earth, it's
right.
actually coming from, so there's another layer under the earth
The deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles, right?
by
So
humans, right?
by humans, right?
Okay.
No one's ever gotten deeper. That's like going halfway through the skin of an apple. And when they were doing that, they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they're going to hit next. And they were wrong every step of the way. So when they were trying to drill halfway through the skin of the apple,
Mm-hmm.
they were wrong, but somehow they knew the next 4,000 miles looks like this. This
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous. This is a meme. This is something you have to believe,
Mm-hmm.
and there's zero evidence of it.
How about volcanoes?
So the volcanoes was one that got me, but do you know that there are no cone-shaped mountains spewing lava out of the top? It's never happened. You've only seen it in movies, okay?
No, I've
And
seen it. I've seen it in real life. There's
I,
actually
I, I said the same thing,
there's
but what
actually
you see,
videos of there was a explosion in Bunau, and there was a boat that was really close. It got almost this close, and people died.
was it lava or was it an explosion like Mount St. Helens? Mount St. Helens did not have,
Lava.
okay, but the lava comes out of the side of the mountain, not out of the top, right? Lava, again, the whole idea of mountains spewing lava from the center of the earth, that's fiction. You
Mm,
have to go look at all the volcanoes in Hawaii, all of the lava in Hawaii. It's coming out
mhm.
of the ground. It's not coming out of the top of the mountains. And lots of times when you have a break, it comes out, hardens, and more comes out and more comes out.
Yep.
And so now it's coming out of a cone shape hill that's like 20 feet tall, and then they show it on the news really close up, and you have nothing to scale it by,
Mhm.
and you think that's a mountain. Look into it. It's fascinating. It's not coming from the center of the earth. It's electrical in nature. All right, going back, where were we on? What were you asking?
We are talking about what was your original point, or where can you pinpoint maybe in your childhood or a younger age that you really got into conspiracy theory and trying to learn a different truth than you was taught?
The I guess the earliest memory I have was in kindergarten or first grade, where the teacher took us outside and was teaching us about gravity. He got a bucket of water and spun it around and said, "That's gravity." And I said, "But we're on the outside of the ball that's spinning." And the teacher goes like this, goes, "Yeah, that's a good point. Well, that's the way I'm told to teach it, and that's the way I'm going to teach it.
Mm,
So you keep asking questions, though," he said to me. That
yes.
was like, yeah. And
That's a good
so,
teacher, actually.
yeah. Well, not I don't know. He should have bucked the system, in my opinion. But he told me keep asking questions. So that was interesting. And then it wasn't until I always kind of looked into little things, but the biggest one was in the 1990s. I started looking into what money was. And I
Mm,
realized money and the Federal Reserve and the IRS, it's all nonsense. It's
yeah, it's
all
not real.
private.
Money's not
Yeah,
real.
it's
Mhm.
all crazy. So I used to, my buddy Tim and I, when we worked at the solar power company in the lunchroom every day, a big crowd would always gather around us because we were talking about, the Federal Reserve and money and different things. And then one day he said, "Hey, we need to reach more people. We can do a podcast. I got an opportunity in New York City out of Stand Up New York Labs." And I'm like, "What the hell's a podcast?" I didn't even know what a podcast was. And so then we started doing it. We started looking into, the New York City event, and the Connecticut event happened, and, the marathon and all of that stuff. I don't know how fluent you guys are on it, but it's all not real.
So I so another thing is that to think differently, you have to buck the system that's created, right? So do you think the system that is created for our disservice, and they want to pull us down into this mediocre way of thinking? That's why they give us this way of thinking in so many different ways. And if you had the chance, what would be the first thing that you would do? I know you explained the two things that you, but what would be the first thing you would do if you can snap your fingers and change something?
Show people that we don't live on a spinning ball,
Mm-hmm.
and that we are at the center of creation, and that the only power that anyone has over you is in your imagination.
Mm-hmm. And why that?
Because that's freedom. I mean, we are free. We Nobody can take our freedom from us unless we willingly give it to them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the problem. Everybody has willingly given away their freedom. You know,
So another thing that a lot of people ask about conspiracy theorists and things like that, why don't these people that are with the powers that be, they just shut you down? Is it because they want you to be out there and bucking the system, or is it kind of they can't? Why don't you just shut you down?
because they can't just well, they actually are shutting everyone down pretty darn quick now. I mean, with all the censorship going on
Mhm.
YouTube, um, they've shut down a lot of things, but they have to just do things slowly. They're not allowed to break our free will. So they always tell us what they're doing, which sounds crazy for someone new to this, but they always tell us what they're doing. And that way, if we're too silly or too stupid to say no, we're consenting. Um, why don't they shut flat earthers down? I don't know. Maybe it would cause more of a if they all of a sudden removed all flat Earth videos from the internet. Would it cause a bigger problem? Sometimes when you try to shut something up, it just gets worse. They've basically taken down all of the videos, on the Connecticut school event and the Boston Marathon event, I can go to New York City and I can ask people how many buildings collapsed on 9/11, and 95% of them will say two. Maybe another 5% will say three, but nobody will say seven. Okay. And so people don't even know what happened in their own city. So it's pretty easy to mind control people. So the whole idea, all of this is to control us, because if you knew that all of the things they had you afraid of were not real, could they control you? They control you through fear. They control you with their money system. They control you with limiting your ability to manifest your thoughts properly. Um, they want us to believe that we're running out of water. Untrue. Infinite amount of clean, pure water. They want us to believe we're running out of food. Untrue. Stick a seed in the ground, water will fall from the sky, and food will grow. All right? That we're overpopulated. Untrue. Every single person in the world can live in Texas with plenty of room. Okay? They want us to believe that nuclear bombs are gonna, crazy dictators are gonna blow us up with nuclear bombs. Untrue. All made up nonsense. Nuclear bombs don't exist. They want us to believe that
Hold on, hold
global
on, hold on, hold on. I
nuclear
can't, I
bombs
can't, I
don't
can't, I
exist.
can't let you go off of that one. I can't let you go off that
What?
one.
Hold on. I'm gonna read your mind. What about Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
No, we're not even gonna go that far.
Okay, go
We're
ahead.
not. We're gonna go with the idea of a nuclear bomb. So the
Yeah,
idea, the concept, the science of it, you can say exists, but the nuclear bomb itself, you're saying that doesn't exist.
it's
Like,
pseudoscience and it doesn't exist. It does not exist.
Okay.
There's never been a nuclear explosion. 3
There's
days
never
after,
been a nuclear explosion,
no, and I'll prove it.
even at a nuclear plant.
Nuclear plant is different. Nuclear plant, they're taking plutonium, which
Yes.
reacts and heats up and boils water, and the
Hmm.
steam turns pistons.
Correct.
It's a friggin' steam engine.
So you're saying, but that same technology that you just described is similar to what is the technology that uses to blow up to create a nuclear bomb. Similar, like you're saying, this is basically like a
No,
glorified steam engine with more energy, right?
that's what they tell us, but it's not
Okay.
true. None of it's true.
Okay.
So, does this sound like a nuclear bomb? Um, Three in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, after the explosion, nobody was allowed to take photos or write articles except one person, one guy. And if you did, you were put in jail. So that's kind of controlling what's going on. 3 days after the explosion, the trains were running, the flower shops were opening, the sandwich shops were opening, and everybody was back to work. Okay. 3 days after that, everyone's back to work and the stores are open. Does that sound like a nuclear bomb? No.
Mm.
There's video of them piling skids and skids and skids of TNT at ground zero prior to the blast. It was a massive dynamite blast, and that's it. And they made up the whole thing to push the military industrial complex and to keep people living in fear. They control us. Kim Jong-un, you ever hear him say anything intelligent? I believe he's a mental patient in an institution that they take out, put in front of a green screen where he can clap and smile, and then they tell us a horrible story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you look at any of the old images of him with his armies behind him, zoom in on the armies and the tanks and everything. It's all stepped and repeated. It's the same guys again and again. Okay? Those tanks are balloons. They're not even real. The rockets. It's just a parade of nonsense.
Okay, let me take a step back. So for the explosion and the people working after, um, how about the people that now still have radiation poisoning from 4 or 5 generations? The over 1 million people that still have that radiation poisoning and the childbirth defects.
Yeah, there's actually less radiation, there's less cancer, there's less childbirth defects in Japan than there is in here in the United States.
But there's more
That's all.
people.
The plants, animals, and people have always thrived there. In Chernobyl, there's still people living in Chernobyl that are completely fine. Plants, animals, and people thriving in these places. There was a guy named Gaylor Windsor who went around, I think it was in the 80s or 70s, saying that the plutonium is not dangerous. He would eat it, and he would swim in the pools, the radioactive pools at the power plants to show people that it wasn't dangerous.
So
Crazy
you're
stuff.
you're saying that there are less, but you're still saying that there are still might be possibly some radioactive defects that happened due to that possible interaction with a so it's been very much proven and written, and again, to your point, it might
Yep.
be the big they who are controlling the narrative, but they
These
have
guys.
yes, they have said that there have been major, a lot of birth defects after this occurrence. So I don't want to like skim over that,
Right.
but
They're telling you that, but what are there? Have you seen all of them? Do you know what they're from? I mean, there was a lot of birth defects here when they were using formaldehyde, whatever it's called.
yeah. I know you're talking about
Formaldehyde. Well, I lost the word.
I know you're talking about
I-
formaldehyde.
No, not formaldehyde.
Oh.
It's formaldehyde. Whatever it is,
Yes.
everyone knows what we're talking about. But that wasn't from radiation. That was from a pharmaceutical medicine.
Mhm.
If you look at all of the polio, that was from DDT. That wasn't from a virus. Okay, all of this stuff you're believing the people that tell you that we're flying in space.
Mm.
Okay? You're believing the people that are telling you that 9/11 was done by crazy Arab hijackers,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're believing stories
Mm-hmm.
that you have no evidence of them being true.
Okay. So I I I love the critical thinking. That's where I really want to have on. Even though we might have disagreed like ideals of something, I feel
I
I
get it.
feel I feel that we all should have this type of conversation.
I
You have the
appreciate I appreciate
facts
your open mindedness. Can we pivot the conversation to where you tell me what the number one reason you would think the Earth is a globe? What would be one reason that you think the Earth is a globe?
number one thing for me is stars. So I've camped, I've been out at night, I've like seen a fully lit starry sky. And the
Amazing,
and
right?
the one thing that always it does is it kind of it moves, right? And that North Star you're talking about, it
Yeah.
it it's been told to you're able to kind of find your way in direction there, but that North Star also moves depending on what area. So if you're in Montana, like I did backpacking retreat in Montana, I did a backpacking retreat in actually Costa Rica. They're technically two different places if you think about the longitude and latitude of the place you're at. So that's the one thing that kind of sticks to me.
So explain that. What about the stars makes you think that you're on a spinning globe?
Because of the movement of the stars. They
The
move and then
movement.
they're not in the same place. Yep.
If you think about it, look at the North Star. The stars go all and make perfect circles around it. We're moving in four different directions at once. Why would they be making perfect circles? Why do they never change from night to night? Why are they always in the same spot every year on the same night at the same time?
So that's where again so if I went with like Cub Scouts or whatever scouts, you kind of put your hand up there and you see like Orion's belt or something within your purview. That belt or that constellation will change and move depending on where you're at. So, for instance, if I was in Montana, I would see Orion's belt in a different location than I would
Great.
if I was in Costa Rica.
Let's talk about that. So imagine you and I are in a nice big empty room, 10-foot high ceilings,
Mm-hmm.
and there's recessed lighting in
Mm-hmm.
the ceiling. Now expand that room to 10 miles wide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go walk 5, 6, 7 miles away from me
Mm-hmm.
in that room. Can you see the lights that are above my head? The answer is absolutely not. In less than half a mile, the ceiling and the floor will merge together. And you go look up, you're looking at completely different stars. Okay. So I got Orion's lights right above me.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you walked 50 feet over there, you'd see Orion's lights over there, lower in the sky.
No, I won't.
Yes, you would.
No, I won't. There's there's
100%.
there's no way because there's I mean
So
and
hold
again,
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm pointing at a light directly
yeah, you're
above me
just
right
right
now.
here. Yep.
It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now, if you were 20 feet over there, would you be pointing up? This point at this light? No,
No,
you'd be pointing. You'd be
that
pointing.
way. Yep.
You'd be say it's over there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proving to you right now that we're both seeing those lights in different positions based on our position, but it's
100%.
still on a flat ceiling above me. As you walk away, it gets lower in the sky.
So wouldn't that also prove the round Earth theory as well? So
Absolutely not.
if you're on a planet like this, right? And this is me playing devil's
I
advocate in
get it.
this
Trying to figure
situation.
it out.
So you're right here as a point, right? We're doing the same light test, right? So this is you're in a light, right? And the room is round now. Now, if I go to this area or this part of, let's say my wrist is a different part of the world on this other side of the earth, wouldn't I still have to do exactly the same thing that you're saying I would do on a flat earth as well?
yes and no. Things on a ball, yes, stars would look like they're in a different position, but that doesn't prove that the Earth is a ball because it works on a flat Earth also.
Yeah,
Here,
I agree.
here, so here's the North Star. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
equator.
Yep.
Anybody below the equator could not see the North Star because they'd have to look through the planet, right?
Uh, well, depending on, so we're going back to the theory of the distance between the star and the Earth, then, because
I'm not
if
talking
this,
about the
if,
distance. If the North Star is lined up with the axis of the globe,
but
anybody below the curve here cannot see the North Star because it would be blocked.
but
That's what
you're,
the heliocentric model says.
but there's also the understanding that, for instance, you can see the sun on every side of the planet. It's just farther away. You
On
know
a,
what I'm
on
saying?
a
On a globe model, right? So it's just like you can see the Earth, you can see the sun from Antarctica, and then you can see the sun from Australia. It just would be farther from.
right, that works perfectly on a flat Earth.
So it also works. So that's what I'm saying. It's not. I'm not disproving. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that on both kind of theorems, they would work. The your understanding
Let,
would work on both
let me
sides.
ask you a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Is this camera falling over backwards at 1,000 miles an hour, or is that light just moving farther away?
So again, I agree that it's good. The theory within the flat Earth, it would be 100%. But I also think it doesn't disprove the round globe model. So if you're here and you have that sun going the same thing and you're going around, it can still go farther away and something stay at the same point. But you're thinking about it as a, a basketball, not a gigantic sphere. That's why I'm trying to like I can show you.
I hear what you're saying.
So
I
it's
hear
like
what you're
I
saying.
feel like they share, both theories share similar points
Let
of theorem.
let's look at this. Maybe we'll take it a different way.
Okay.
So this is Santiago, Chile, and this is Australia, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the flight routes go all the way up into the north. The equator is like right here, right? Goes all the way up to the north, all the way across, and all the way back down.
Yes.
Okay, why would they do that on a ball, right?
Because the cities that they need to land in are closer. Because if you see that, it's actually going to New York, Los Angeles, and then probably Sydney, Australia.
There's direct flights that have no stops that take this same route. Okay,
Yes.
and the reason is because it's a straight line, right? If you want to go to Western Australia, this is the route. Western
Mm-hmm.
Australia, they go all the way up, all the way across, and all the way down. It makes no sense. So if that's the truth,
Mm-hmm.
well, how come there's no flights that start in the north and end in the north that go to the south first, right? All the flights in the north stay in the north. And all the flights in the south going to other southern locations go to the north and then come back. No flight in the north goes to the south and comes back to the north ever,
And
right?
what does that prove?
That proves that the earth is flat. That
Mm-hmm.
proves, like, if I want to go from Santiago to Australia, I have to go north into the northern hemisphere, and then I have to go south into the southern hemisphere. But if I want to go from, say, United States to,
Yep.
um, I don't know, Europe,
Yep.
I just go here. I don't go all the way down here and then all the way back. I just take these routes. There's
Mm-hmm.
and one of the ways to prove this is there's been emergency landings that have caused them to expose their lies. For example,
Yes.
right here,
I heard that one from the other
yeah.
pod. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so they go all the way to Alaska instead of landing in Hawaii because emergency happened right here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because, bam, emergency, Alaska.
So, as far as the flat Earth map here as well, isn't this just a view of the globe from above?
So I say the globe is taking this map and wrapping it around the globe. They
Okay.
don't have a good map of the Earth. Why doesn't NASA go into space, take a photo of Earth, and map out all of the continents exactly? They can't, they won't, they never will because they can't, because the Earth is not a globe. You know, The easiest way to prove that the Earth is um, a globe would be to circumnavigate Antarctica, which is only like 13,000 miles around.
Mhm.
But nobody has ever done it because it's not 13,000 miles around. Antarctica is all the way around here, right? Captain Cook did it. It took him 3.5 years. He went over 60,000 miles.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, this is he tried to excuse me, to circumnavigate Antarctica, and it should just take them, 13,000 miles, but it didn't, right?
Gotcha.
You should just be able to go zoop, fly around. You could do it in one day. Two airplanes, one goes this way, one goes this way, and 6 hours later, 9 hours later, whatever, they would meet over here
Mhm.
after flying about 6,000 miles. But because that's not how the Earth is set up.
Mm. Okay. Gotcha. All right. That and Captain Cook. I need to research that guy. I didn't. I heard that again. I heard that in your the podcasts I was listening to because I've been researching. I wanted to make sure that we get as much juice from our conversation as possible because again, I love to have conversations with people that are passionate and you are passionate about um the flat earth theory, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. Honestly, I'm saying
I
that
get it.
I love the perspective, and I hope people that are listening right now get to understand, and these are facts that you're throwing out here. This is a piece of information that is pertinent for people to change and buck the system, and for you to be on the forefront of trying to think outside of the conventional box is lovely, from crypto
I'm just looking for
to
the truth. I'm just looking for the
exactly.
truth.
And who
Here's the
knows the
thing.
truth? Nobody until
You
you
know
do
what?
the
And
research.
we know that we don't know a lot. We don't.
Exactly.
There's flat earthers that have different beliefs on what's beyond Antarctica. So
Hmm.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But we all agree that it's not a spinning ball flying in a space vacuum. You have to believe that once upon a time there was nothing and then it exploded and turned into everything. That's cool, right? And then all of the rocky bits started sticking together, but all of the gases decided to turn themselves into balls that were so big that they burst into flames and they leave a vacuum in between. So now we have burning gas balls in a vacuum. That's fun. You see a problem with that? Okay. The entire idea is to make you feel insignificant, that you were evolved from pond scum, and that you have no power, and that that you're just an accident. You're a freak accident. That's what they want you to
So
believe because
let me take that and put a positive spin on it, because I think that the a different approach to that, the half cup half full version would be that we are the we are the growth of something that was minimal, and then we are now a complex organism that have grown. We basically, if you know Drake, started from the bottom, now we're here. So maybe we could take that approach to it too.
yeah, it's
I know we're tri-city people, so
mutations.
we have to take
Mutations don't
the other
make
part.
improvements,
No,
right?
that's not true. So mutations can make improvements.
Well, like our
X-Men.
eyes developed, like just think about what your
Mhm.
eyes can do and interpret. I mean, that wasn't just randomness.
Yeah.
They want us to believe that just mutations happen. I mean, there's natural selection, like, guys like women with long fingers, so they breed with them more. And so now people have
Mhm.
longer fingers.
Yep.
Okay. That's different. But never, ever has any species turned into another species without being genetically manipulated by man. So, yeah,
So you're saying evolution is not true.
100% not true. It's
Gotcha.
unbelievable. I
But
mean, evolution.
hold on to that. Let's take that. We're gonna put this right here, and we're gonna leave that for volume 2 of this, because
Okay, awesome.
I want to explore some more theories that you have, because we didn't talk about 9/11. We didn't talk about what you call it, the evolution theory. We didn't talk about a couple other theories about the bombing, the Boston bombing, and things like that. And I just would love to get your take on JFK. So let's put a pin in that. I want you to first um I'm going to ask, so I call a section, this is a section I like to call shots fired. Usually it's 10 to 15 questions, but I'm gonna make a nice one for you, because I think we got a lot of information. I want people to get satiated with that information, but I want to still keep the fun and frilliness of the show. So the shots fired question is, um, what is your death row meal? It's the last meal of life. I need an appetizer, I need an entree, and I need a dessert.
I'm not really hungry, but my death row meal would be, I don't know. Give me some oysters on the half shell for an appetizer. I'll take a lobster dinner, 3.5 pounder, please, with a mashed potato, or the baked potato, and some mussels. And for dessert, I'll have I don't know, nice chocolate cake.
Nice. Okay.
A la mode. A
There
la
we go.
mode.
Okay. Okay. I like that a lot. So this is the part where I say, please pitch yourself, pitch what you got going on, where people can find you, and any upcoming events.
Um, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Take the challenge. If you think this is stupid and I'm crazy, win 3 Bitcoins. It's like 150,000 bucks. Okay. Take the challenge, check it out, go with an open mind. Don't believe anything I said in this podcast. Verify it yourself. That's what I did. Okay. You can find me. Well, the best place is the app, flatearthdave.com. If you forget everything else, just Flat Earth Dave. Links to the app are there. Don't watch out for the Ron Media Group. That's the knockoff one. So make sure you do that. The event that's coming up October 20th or 22nd, somewhere around there, is Flattoberfest, flatearthfestivals.com in South Carolina. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of us. It's a 2-day event, kind of like a conference the first day. Second day is like a music festival. Going to be a blast.
Nice.
And that's it.
Again, thank you so much, Dave. The last thing we do here on the podcast is say our catchphrase. And our catchphrase is love, peace, and chicken grease. So once you say the catchphrase, we out of here.
Your catchphrase, love, peace, and chicken grease.
That's all we got to say. And this has been another episode of Drew versus World. Thank you so much, Dave.
All right, Drew, thanks.